Hello, you've reached the Joust. Please leave a message after the beep. Beep.
Hello, boys. Philip Rothfield, Daily Telegraph here. Love the show. Just want to say how happy I am that you boys are back. Look, state of the NRL, boys, it's in an absolute shambles. You know, the woke agenda of this communist RLPA is destroying the game. Look, we need to get common sense back. Yeah, I haven't been this disappointed since my dear wife Estelle left me for Australian comedic legend Kim Gingell, I think it was. Kenty, what was that show that Kim Gingell was in? Yeah, Full Frontal. Ironically, that was how I found my wife, with Kim Gingell in my marital bed after the 1995 World Cup. Yeah, it's a very funny show. I loved Full Frontal. Anyway, love the show, boys. Thanks very much. Speak to you next week.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Naggy. I'm here once again with my festive co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, it's good to be with you.
Naggy, it's wonderful to be with you as always, as we have been for many, many years now. Thank you very much for having me.
Liam, there's a question that's been bothering me. I've always wondered, Liam, coming Easter time, are you a bunny man or are you an egg boy?
Now, Naggy, that's a problem that has always worried me as well, because much like that small girl on the tacos ad, if we're up to me, why can't we have both?
Oh, of course, Liam. The combination of the egg and the bunny is what we really strive for at Easter. Do you have a favourite confectionery?
Look, I think my favourite was an absolute classic in Joust. I'm sure you love it as well, as much as I did at the time. That the large NRL football-shaped one.
Of course.
The exact size and shape of a football, but made out of delicious Cadbury chocolate.
Hey, was it Cadbury or was it some sort of NRL offshoot of Cadbury?
It could well have been an NRL offshoot of Cadbury. I wouldn't surprise me. I believe they were sold mostly at Best and Less.
I haven't seen them much anymore. Have they been retired, Liam?
Look, I think it's a great example of shrinkflation.
Yeah.
It used to be the regular size. Now it's more the size of those small foam balls you get from McDonald's, those little things you'd peg at each other during lunchtime at school.
It's just not what it used to be come Easter time. A lot of the lesser-known chocolate brands are also been sort of taken over by Cadbury and all the bigwigs there at the confectionery factories.
Well, look, it's capitalism. We love it. We're very for capitalism here on the show, and I think
for Cadbury, really.
And for Cadbury, we're very pro Cadbury, of course. But things have been a bit different since they started using the palm oil, not least because of all the dead orangutans.
Yeah.
But the chocolate hasn't been as good. You'll recall Cadbury used to be, what was it? 2 full glasses of full cream milk in each bar.
1.5 glasses.
Now it's 1 glass.
Now it's just the one.
Now it's just palm oil.
The Humpties used to be bigger too. The Humpties are a bit flatter.
And they had a beautiful, surprise inside with all the, not Smarties, but the Humpty Dumpty knockoff Smarties.
The Cadbury's, the equivalent of Smarties.
They were chalky.
Now,
very chalky.
Liam, outside of Cadbury, there's been some outrageous disrespect. And I'll cop disrespect to the game, I'll cop disrespect to the players, Liam, but I will not cop disrespect to our beloved Diggers, and this is exactly what's happened with the Tigers.
Now, this is what Volandis has been saying all year. He's been saying we need to focus on respect. We need to focus on respecting the people who deserve the respect. And if, like you said, anyone deserves our respect, it's the Diggers, and the Tigers have not done it.
But Liam, before we jump straight into the all the important parts of the game, it's time for the news. Yes, of course, Liam, the Tigers in turmoil. They've released a jersey with not Australians on the Anzac commemorative jersey, but with American soldiers.
Now, that's not good enough, Naggy. As we mentioned in our intro, the Diggers are the ones to be respected, and the Tigers in turmoil have decided to go against all of the values that we hold true in our country and really just flown off the handle here. What they've done is unacceptable. And what we haven't got here is the turmoil in the Tigers has spilled over to the turmoil in the Titans, who have made the very same mistake. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a picture of that jersey because no one gives a shit about the Titans.
Liam, I always see the Diggers as, we've got the game and it's built on local juniors, but the country is built on the original local juniors, which are the Diggers.
The backbone of our country. And I personally think that, again, agreeing with Mr. Volandis, not enough is done to honour them.
It's an incredible mistake by the joint venture of the Tigers.
A slap in the face of the collective nation.
I would think so. American soldiers. And then they said, look, no, this isn't a mistake at all. This is actually what we wanted to have, because it's not just, it's a jersey about war. It's not actually to remember anyone. It's just a jersey about war that happens to fall on Australia's commemorative day about our very own diggers. Now, Australia has its own army, Liam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, not a particularly large one. I think they're mostly focused on peacekeeping missions. I
Yep.
think, there's maybe 15,
At least 10.
20 diggers perhaps on a busy day if you include the reserves.
Yes, yeah, there's quite a few of those.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't know this. I learned the other day that the Army Reserve has its own reserve.
a reserve.
Reserve. Is that the 18th man of the Australian Defence
It
Force?
appears to be. But Liam, they had ample opportunity to put up a couple of Australian soldiers on there, but they've gone for the American soldiers carrying American equipment and American weapons, and then they chose to advertise it with an Englishman.
Now, we're not the most tech-savvy people, but Google isn't hard to use, and I'm quite certain that Australia does not autocorrect to America, so I'm not sure how they got that one, but the gall of them to use an Englishman.
Yeah.
As we remember, who was it who sent the Anzacs to the Dardanelles?
Wasn't the New Zealanders.
Nope, it was a fella named Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
We don't care for him on this show.
As British as they come.
Old racist bastard.
So they've really... they've really messed this up, Liam. But then they've said, "Oh, we're very sorry. We didn't mean to cause any disrespect." And they've changed the image on there to a digger. Now, unmistakable digger with the slouch hat. And we can't say that can't be an American. Well, we can't see we can see the outline of it. Could be an American with a slouch hat, but it appears to be an Australian Anzac image, which I believe was one of the first two images. If you search up Anzac, is what you find. So they've gone safe.
And I think, again, not technologically very advanced, but I've done a Google search for Anzac, and I believe that image has popped up on about
1,000.
1,000 to 1,500 NRL jerseys in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, I'm glad they've made the change. It's much more respectful, and they've realised their woes.
The error in their ways.
Error in their way.
And unlike Peter Dutton, they didn't walk out on their apology. They made it known. They said it. Did they mean it? Who cares?
Who knows?
Who knows?
As we move forward, Liam, there's been some controversy again in a certain type of tackle. We've had all the types of tackle. We had the cannonball, the chicken wing, the grapple, of course, started it all.
It was the grapple that began it all. Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm, of course, famously for grappling, which you'd grapple around the player's neck and you'd try to tear his head clean off.
Which is that's rugby league to me.
Yeah.
All these wrestling moves that they brought in, it's just rugby league. It's what rugby league needs. It's the violence of the game. It's a combat sport. People say contact sport, they're wrong. It's a combat sport.
Combat sport.
Yeah. Chicken wing. Yep, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Pop down a red rooster, tackle a titan.
The next they'll be putting
night.
they'll be putting the players in the walls of Jericho, Liam. That's, if you remember, that's also the
Is that
Boston.
Chris Benoit's move?
That's no, it was
Chris Jericho.
Who was the Chris Jericho? It was the walls of Jericho was Chris Jericho, and it was also the Boston Crab. It was the same move, but done by different people. If it was,
I went to a bar called the Boston Crab once.
He also did.
It was really dark.
He did one called the Code Breaker, which was just him holding the back of the neck and then bringing them onto the knees. They haven't brought any of these into.
Well, I think that was Alan Turing who perfected the Code Breaker, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was a very well-known professional wrestler, and he's in out-of-war times. But they've decided to bring this new tackle that they're trying to outlaw, and it's the hip drop.
Now, Naggy, I've been watching the hip drop tackle evolve. I've been popping into different NRL team training sessions. As we all know, since the Melbourne Storm pioneered it, they've all got wrestling coaches now. Of
course, yeah.
They've got your Chris Benoit's, your Chris Jericho's, your Macho Man Randy Savage's.
Not sure if Benoit's making the rounds anymore, but yes.
He's making the rounds in heaven, though, bud.
Yes.
I spotted Rikishi around training at the Tigers the other week.
Maybe not heaven, maybe the other place. But he's no longer getting around. But it's still the legacy of those sorts of wrestling coaches, professional wrestling coaches.
And the hip drop. Yeah, look, I just have to say this about the hip drop. You can't teach gravity.
No.
You simply cannot teach gravity.
You can't avoid it.
No, I spoke to Isaac Newton many, many years ago. I had a chat.
Yeah,
Got bonked on the head by an apple.
Yeah.
Several lifetimes ago. You were a fan of the Dalai Lama, Naggy. Because I was reincarnated as Isaac Newton's
Apple
fitness coach. And the apple bonked him and I said, mate, see, you've got 11 weeks mandatory stand down on the sideline.
As soon as that's happened, Liam, we realised that gravity affects us all equally.
Equally.
Yeah.
9.8 metres per second.
Yeah.
Due to the spinning of the Earth.
The more mass you have, the greater gravity pulls you down.
And the more mass you have, the better you are in the books of the man upstairs. Harold, I think it is. Isn't it?
Harold, be thy name.
Yes,
God's name.
and that
of course.
famous prayer, of course.
And it's very important to remember when you've got two massive people clashing together, and as gravity takes its toll, and inertia and all those other forces,
All of Newton's laws. He had three of the bastards.
Quite often you'll have a player that swings around like a swing, and landing as gravity takes its toll on the back of the player.
Did you ever see anyone get all the way around on the swings? You know, traditionally in the swings, you go forward, you go back, you go forward, you go back.
Like a pendulum.
Like a pendulum, much like a pendulum. Thank you, inertia. Yeah. You ever see anyone go all the way around?
I don't think I've ever seen it, but I'm sure there's a YouTube video that we could find of someone going all the way around the swings. But
probably more a YouTube video of an emergency room at a hospital from
a near-death
from prepubescent boys trying it all the time. Because I know there was a couple of broken arms at my school attempting that very same thing.
It's like the dislodge from the swing that everyone's attempted, where you feel like you could just dislodge and walk away, but really, if you dislodge, you get thrown forward.
It's more a dismount than anything.
Dismount,
off the pommel horse.
Exactly. You know, it's something that we cannot avoid, Liam. But
nor should we.
Nor should we.
It's a part of the game. It's a combat sport. And injuries, you know, they're dime a dozen.
There's some times where there might be malicious hip drops.
And they're the best kind of hip drops.
Yeah. And then
just ask Jackson Hastings.
But now there's accidental hip drops. We can't rule out accidents from the game. It will happen, Liam.
As much as we try, and try we must. We led a discretionary committee about how to rule accidents out of the game.
Yeah.
And we just said, bring back more thuggery. Because if you intend to hurt someone, you're not accidentally hurting him.
No more accidents.
Accidents.
It's a perfect thing. So we have to review intent, bring back thuggery, and we'll stop all this nonsense about accidental hip drops causing injuries. They're going to be injured.
It's a very simple system.
They're going to be injured.
Very simple.
We're interesting from the Penrith Panthers this week, Liam. Penrith have put up a stand and said, no more are we going to be going to the beck and call of this broadcaster, Fox Sports.
Now, there was a bit of a watershed moment. I don't know if you saw last week, Joust, in the Panthers v Raiders game. Jamin Salmon decided to return serve to Ricky Stewart, and with his weak gutted dog comment, I think
classic,
he penned to Ricky in a love letter. And one particular man at Fox League, whose name will go unmentioned, took umbrage at that.
PK, we'll call him.
No, Pekant?
Pekant?
No, Paul K.
Paul K. We'll sit with Paul K.
Yeah.
But we'll go unmentioned. Yeah.
And now he's sparked up a bit of a feud, to which the Panthers have said no more.
No more?
They've said no more. We shan't be interacting with the Daily Telegraph, with Fox NRL. They gave us a call and they said, look, boys, we're sick of the mainstream media. We want to go to the alternative media, of which we are the leading lights.
Hopefully so.
Fingers crossed. We turn the lights on ourselves. Look, I think this is a wise decision on behalf of the Panthers NRL club. Because, look, let's face it. We've been following the NRL media for so long because we've had no option.
Yeah.
And I think what you'll find, Joust, is if you pay attention, that the NRL media is basically just now new idea for retirees at the Rudy Hill RSL.
Maths for men, possibly. It's all heroes and villains and drama, backroom politics, and who said what to who.
God forbid we analyse the game that we love. God forbid we look at the game and say, here's a good thing, here's a bad thing. Now you're the chip wrapper.
They said, Liam, that there's been unfair criticism from Fox Sports. And I said, that's all Fox Sports has is unfair criticism.
I believe the exact unfair criticism was that they were low class.
Oh, yes, of course.
Low class. Famously, said by people who incite class warfare.
Cultural wars. Yes. How can you avoid it? If that's something that they're doing every single day, I think there should be a larger boycott, Liam. Say goodbye to Fox Sports as a broadcaster and say, look, you can tune in on ABC Radio.
We had 16 CEOs in the rugby league on the phone to us.
Yep.
Saying, we don't want Fox League. We don't want the Daily Telegraph. And we said, yes, we'll field questions from all of you. Except the Tigers, because their questions were unintelligible.
Yeah, we couldn't read them.
It was just strings of vowels and consonants out of order. Not a noun in there.
A true mash of the keyboard. But it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to talk about the greatest team in this generation.
Of all generations.
And how they're going to be able to do it. Probably still give them unfair criticism.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Knights. No, Penrith. Yeah, one generation.
No, they're the greatest. Well, of course. Yeah. If we go many generations, the Newcastle Knights. But, of course, how they're going to manage this, we're not really sure. But our doors are open, and so are our windows. It's quite cold in here. Liam!
Sharon's manning the fax machine. She's ready to field questions.
She's ready. Fax them through to Sharon. But, Liam, it was a very exciting time for us on the weekend. Very exciting.
Nothing like I've ever felt before.
Now, Liam, I'll cast your mind back to just 2 weeks ago.
When?
2 weeks ago. And we had a win against the Canberra Raiders.
Wasn't that wonderful?
And we
no weak gutter dogs on our team.
We followed it up with a draw. Not quite a win, but a draw. Not a loss against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles.
We found a new way to win by scoring the same points and then still going to the pub after it.
Exactly the same amount of points. Now, history will tell us, Liam, we can't do that again. We're not
Will
going to
it?
come
We've
away.
done it before.
We're not going to come away with another win. Not in,
Oh, I thought you were saying we'll never draw again, but we've done it before.
Oh, we've done many,
and we will
many
do it
draws.
again.
Oh,
We
yes.
love it.
Yes. But no, we can't have all this good form, back-to-back good form in this, one of the toughest NRL seasons in the books,
And
Liam.
most exciting NRL seasons in the books. There's no room for blandness and repeating nonsense.
We have all of Volandi's new rules, and all the players are trying to mould to them. Referees, we've gone from 2 to 1. It's chaos out there, Liam. How can we win games? We've just done it 3 times in a row, but sort of 2.5 because there's a draw in there. But we haven't lost in 3 weeks, Liam.
When was the
Exciting.
last time that happened, Mr. David Middleton?
I think it was 3. We're on a 3-win streak in 2021. Possibly.
Where were you in 2021, Naggy?
God knows.
What was your life like at that point?
Hopefully out of the slammer, you know.
A short stretch out of the slammer,
short
but
stretch.
out no less.
It was so exciting to see, Liam, that the at home, good crowd, 18,000 I believe, rocked up to see the Knights take on the Warriors, and we managed to come away with a 34-24 win.
Some would say an unlikely win. We would say, shut up.
It was very.
We had that game all along.
The Warriors were way up the ladder. The Knights were way down there, and they said the Warriors are playing well. We heard throughout the week, the Warriors.
And you know, we narrowed it down, Naggy. We called it on this show not 1 week ago. They said, how do we beat the Warriors? And we said, we stopped Sean Johnson's smile.
Yeah.
And boy, that was a frown he had on him in the last 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
The cheer was gone from his eyes. The rosy red cheeks had sunken in and were sallow. He looked like he'd spent a decade on heroin.
I was looking a full decade, 10 years.
Full decade. He was that sad.
I was looking at Liam. You can't help but just you're in awe of these new players that we brought in Lachlan Miller and Jackson Hastings. I think Jackson Hastings is a perfect slotting in there as a true conductor of the team.
And look, he had a lot to come up against. Obviously, as we know, being a monk, he had to take a day of leave to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
He had to take the day off.
All of his duties were done.
And not a paid day off either.
No, especially on a holy day. It was a very, very holy day, Liam. But much like in the holy story, we rose again.
7 days later?
7 days?
Yeah, we can rewrite that.
They did. It's always around 7 days. It's always around the calendar week. But this Lachlan Miller, Jackson Hastings combination, where we seem like there seems to be points on the board at all times.
It's been a very empty board for the last couple of years. We've got points on the board now, but we didn't really have the board at all in the last few years.
It seemed
to put
like
the points on.
It felt like, Liam, sometimes when we got a lead, 10 points, 20 points, it doesn't matter. It seemed like they were going to catch us and they were going to win the game. It's just ingrained into us. It's a concern. It's a worry. It's not over to the fat lady sings and you're looking at the fat lady said, come on, love.
And I tell you,
sing us a tune.
With 40 seconds to go, I looked at my father and I said, Dad, now I don't know much about the rules of the NRL, but I bet there's a rule in there somewhere that the Warriors are going to be awarded a 10-point try,
of course,
kick a field goal, and we're going to lose.
Yeah, it felt
and
like
he laughed at me and he said, "You're a ding dong, son." I said, "Yes, Dad, but it'll happen.
It'll happen.
You watch, it'll happen." And it didn't.
Even when 80 minutes and the siren goes, you still feel like it takes you a moment. I don't know if it's because
I'm still not convinced we're going to get up. I'm concerned. The fight back from the Warriors is on.
We saw some tries, Liam, early on. Obviously, the Knights got a good lead. The Warriors, in it, of course, they came back in the second half, but we managed to wrestle them back again and keep that 10-point deficit,
which I think is going to come up in our hats on, hats off later on.
Of course, Liam.
Of course.
But so I can't get past the Miller Hastings combination. I think one criticism that I'll have of our beloved Kalen Ponga, who is recovering now from his head injury.
He too is rising from the dead.
It's it's a very holy biblical episode this week. I'm glad you've tuned in. It's but the excitement of Kalen Ponga. One of the criticisms I'll have is sometimes he's just not there in that support play. He's not hovering around, sniffing out opportunities.
Now they've tried to get him to do that.
Yeah,
they've tried for a few years. They said, Kalen, hang around the ruck, stand in behind Jaden Brayley, touch his bum a bit. And he'd never run. He'd stand there, he'd get behind Jaden Brayley, touch his bum a bit, but he wouldn't actually follow him.
He's incredibly talented, Liam, but that's not one of the strongest parts of his game. Unlike our very own Lachlan Miller.
Sawtell's finest.
The
Olympian.
Yeah, the man from the Moscow Olympics. It's incredible to see him just always sniffing around for opportunities. He's got great ball play. I think he loves the balls in his hands.
Synchronised swimmer.
Both balls.
That's what he went to Moscow for.
Synchronised?
Synchronised.
It's very hard because that's also a team sport.
It's very hard. It's team sport. You got your head underwater half the time. You don't know if you're up nor down.
There was lots of criticisms for signing Lachlan Miller because we had to give away one of the younger forwards of the Newcastle Knights, but to see it really the fruits of the labour, and when I say the labour, it was just the luck of getting Lachlan Miller.
Good capitalist labour. These bigwig commies won't let you have good capitalist labour.
I can't be more excited for not only what Lachlan Miller has done for the club, but what he's going to continue doing for the club.
And more importantly, what he's done for the town. What he's done for the region.
Give him the key.
Give him the key.
Call New Italy.
Did we have a couple more keys made up last week?
Under the mat.
No, someone nicked it.
Damn it.
That's why we should have got the second one made. That was the master key.
Who's your hats on for? And hats off for this week, Liam. Hats off, obviously, for a player that you think's played particularly well. Hats back on for what you feel like maybe needs something improving.
Now, Naggy, if you'll bear with me for a sec, I'm going to call back to last week.
Please, you have
there were NRL fans, Knights fans specifically, who were saying that there is 300,000 players in the NRL better than Phoenix Crossland Bombman.
Yeah.
Now, Phoenix Crossfield Bombman. Land. Yes. Anyway, they told me, they said, Liam, there's 400,000 players in the NRL. He's the worst of them.
Yeah.
I would show them this game. I would sit them down.
Yeah.
Hold their eyeballs open, like in
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. And I'd say, you are an idiot.
Make them watch, Liam.
Make them watch.
Make them see the error of their ways.
I like to say I'd think of something much more clever on the spot, but here we are. Here we are. But he was fantastic. Kicking, running, passing. He threw one intercept, but I feel like that was just to lull people
Warriors
in.
into a
to lull the fans into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
So they'd have a tweet ready.
Yeah.
Phoenix Cross was the worst in the game.
Yeah.
And then he put on a clinic.
Yeah.
The mop.
Playing at 5'8", a position that he's played a couple of times before, but not this season. We really thought, it's got to be a big job, and also taking the kicking duties into the breeze, huge responsibility, and I think he did a very, very good job, and nabbing one of his own tries. So is that your hats off for this week? Phoenix Crossfield Bombland.
That is my hats off for the week's Phoenix Crossfield Bombland.
My hats off for this week, Liam, would have to be none other than Tyson the Frizz Frizzell.
A much maligned character during his time at the Knights.
Well, because a lot of people were expecting a lot from it, and I think we're reaping the rewards now. Now, of course, he's called the Frizz because he's half a fridge and half a gazelle. The way he was running, the combination of the two, Frizz, which is also a shortening of his last name, perfect.
Brilliant. And I think we saw it, and I'd like to, can we extend our hats off to about 7 different players who chased down that slow Warriors winger on
Frizz
that
was
break?
one of them. I think he was like lightning, Liam, but
was?
we were lightning plus. We were moving faster than the speed of light to catch him.
So that's the speed of, we can't move faster than the speed of light, but we did.
Yeah.
The boys did it.
Now, Liam, if I could...
Science be damned.
But it's tough running by Tyson Frizzell. It's tough tackling. He's a handful out there, and he's finding himself. He's scoring tries.
He's a series of boulders.
Yeah.
Kind of
Boulders.
stacked together. Several boulders. What was the evolution of Geodude in the Pokemon?
I'll think
The
of
boulders.
it. It was Gravitor? No.
Yeah, Gravitor. He's Gravitor.
We'll stick with him. It has been about 25 years since I've looked at Pokemon, Liam. But that's our hats off for this week. Hats back on, Liam.
Now, this is a bit of a deep one for you, Joust. So bear with us for a moment, Naggy. Our hats back on. Would you run me through it? Because it's very... Naggy explained it to me. It's very esoteric. And so I'd like him to run me through it again for the benefit of you fans, and also because I forgot it.
I'm emotional, Liam. I'm an emotional man. I get carried through the emotions of the game.
As one would.
And one thing that I would feel that the Newcastle Knights are doing well, they're scoring lots of points, and that's fantastic, but there seems to be a bit of a trading tries, holding on to a lead, getting out to surely this lead's got to be enough for the game to be won by the Newcastle Knights, and you see really good teams put the foot on the throat and end the game. But the hats back on.
That's one of the great wrestling moves that rugby league introduced.
But the game...
Foot on the throat. Some would say it's unfair. I disagree. It's a combat sport, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm putting the hat back on my head to say, Newcastle Knights, please, just for my own emotional sake, please hold on to that lead a little bit firmer, because it's shaving years off the back end of my life, and Liam, I don't have that many years left.
Are you putting the hat on the foot that stands on the neck?
Yeah. We'll find the hat. It's got to be put back on. It's more of a conceptual hat's back on.
Of course. Of course.
But Liam, we're going to take a short halftime break, and we'll be back for the game preview next week of also the sack and Liam's pie and try. Joust, please join us for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam.
Now, Naggy.
What is Newcastle built on?
Many things.
Yeah.
Coal.
Uh-huh.
Live music.
Absolutely.
That's about it.
Live music, Liam. And now, the tyrannical government of the last several decades have tried to suppress live music and say, no more bands.
They're taking us to be the people from the small town in Footloose. But you know who's the Kevin Bacon of this city?
Who?
The Hamilton Station Hotel, the home of live music in Newcastle.
Absolutely, Liam. Have you seen their room that they have for live music now? Brand new.
We were lucky enough to get a bit of a tour of the facility with Tristan over there at the Hamilton Station. It's enormous. I think it can fit 800 to 900 people in there.
8 to 9 might be a bit embellishing on the numbers of people, but it's certainly a large, broad audience that can fit into there and watch Australian bands.
Good Australian bands. Some of the greats have come out of Newcastle.
Yeah.
Screaming Jets.
Yeah.
Silverchair.
All of them.
Shannon Knoll probably.
Probably.
I don't know.
He fits into the mould.
He's very Newcastle, Shannon Knoll.
He's an adopted son. But Liam, it's so great to be able to have a venue. To be able to watch the fruits of the labour of all the musicians.
And hear the fruits of the labour as
And
well.
hear and watch them. It won't be in silence. We can almost guarantee that. Unless it's some sort of arty show.
Oh, those artists. Oh, I don't like artists. Boo.
Like Romp or Stomp or whatever the hell they are.
Bootmen.
Bootmen.
Bootmen, there you go. Another great Newcastle musical institution.
Because what they called boot? No, what's the movie called?
Tap
guys?
Dogs.
Tap Dogs.
Tap Dogs.
But that was about
That
Newcastle.
was a Hemsworth, isn't it? Wasn't it?
No, not Hemsworth. That is, what's the fellow in there?
Sam Worthington.
Worthington. And they're watching Newcastle Knights games on there. It's filmed mainly, I think, in Carrington. But then there's also a scene where he goes to Sydney. He's like, I'm going to go, oh, see you boys, I'm off to Sydney, the big smoke. And he gets on a bike. He's like, whoa, and he goes via Merriweather for some reason.
See, I always skip that scene. I don't want to see Sydney.
Terrible.
I don't want to look at it. Not even on television.
I always think it's a terrible way to get to Sydney. But Liam, it's a great way to get to the Hamilton Station on the train to watch all of the live music. Jump on their socials and check them out. Now,
All
Liam,
the trains go there, Newcastle to Central, Hunter Line, everyone. All of it.
all the trains.
XPT doesn't go there, but yeah.
Yeah, and remember,
That's
if
for
you,
out-of-towners.
if you want to watch the Knights and you can't get to the stadium, you get to the station. Now, Liam, there is something that you've been doing in your own time.
Something I've been enjoying. I've been
Enjoying.
relishing it, in fact.
Yeah, Liam, it's because you were talking also about our beloved friends over at Bay 53.
Yes. Now, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Bay 53.
Pick away.
As pickle, a bit of a bone to pickle with them. I don't think that's a saying, Naggy, but we'll go with it.
We'll use it.
It's a new saying. We say what we want on this show. We don't stick to your
We
standard
can-
sayings that everyone knows.
We can't be censored.
We won't use your idioms that you all use in the public.
Yeah.
But now, they brought up an interesting point. The new favourite footy snack for the Bay 53 people, lovely people, until I mention this, is the Chico roll.
Yeah.
Now, Naggy, what is in a Chico roll?
Don't know, Liam. That's sort of the surprise of the chicken roll, but I believe it's sort of a vegetable mash. There's bits again, and much like a rissole, there's bits. You can see maybe a pea or a bit of carrot or something that resembles those two vegetables. But otherwise, it's just sort of this mouthfeel of mash in a fried stick.
Like almost like an enormous shit spring roll.
It's an enormous shit spring roll, but Liam, you have a greater pastry that you believe is superior.
I do. And I'll have a chat about the Bay 53 boys about this, but you can't beat a pie.
You got a bit of pie?
Can't beat a pie. And I've been eating a lot of pies recently. And
Yeah.
if anything, my conviction towards pies has grown stronger. And we like to tie in every week. Try of the week. And the pie of the week. Would you like to lead now with the try of the week?
I think you can't go past a real team effort coming out of our own end after a 20-minute restart. You see Dom Young take off and give it to our very own Lachlan Miller. And you
Bit
think
of a 20-metre reset
special.
expert.
Oh, yeah.
A real powerful strike move we've started up.
As we were saying before, Lachie Miller always looking around for opportunities, running down the other end of the field.
Just waiting for the next Olympics to come around.
And then the reset, and the ball gets spun out to Bradman Best, and then you think, he's got nowhere to go. What can he do?
He kicked it out of a cannon. I thought it was going to go to Broadmeadow train station.
But it manages to stay in goal, and our very own Phoenix crossfield Bombland,
Crossfield Bomland.
the mop.
The mop. The mighty mop. The 500,000th best player in the NRL.
He did a wonderful job and he scored a wonderful try. That's why he got our hats off for this week, Lamb. But that's also very similar to this sort of 2-for-1 player to combine to form a try, Lamb. But you've also got a pie review.
Yeah, look. It's rare that something in life happens so amazing that you never thought would happen and may never happen again. And that kind of thing happened on Saturday. I was at the Barrington Bakery out in Dungog there. Great little town. And I went in. And I said, hello,
Yes.
I'd like a pie.
Exactly.
Please and thank you. You're closing in a couple of minutes. I'll get in, I'll get out real quick. And they said, hey, would you like 2 pies for the price of 1 pie?
Get out of town.
Get out of town.
All the way to
did.
Dungog.
I got out of town immediately because I thought I'd robbed them.
You have?
I'd robbed them and I thought I'd run. But anyway, so I got 2 for the price of 1, as you can see here. Great
Delicious.
pies. Great pies.
Cross-section?
Not heavy on the volume of the filling, but just enough perfection in the taste that you didn't need a lot of filling.
How was the temperature, Liam?
Temperature was perfect. Again, ate it on the road because we were heading out to Salisbury. For those that don't know, it's a small junction, half an hour out of Dungog. So I smashed them down in about 3 seconds flat. Both of them, the perfect temperature.
One squeezy sauce for each?
Yes, one each, sir. God, what
Do you
kind of savage are you? You're the cheapest man in Newcastle. You're going to have one sauce between two pies?
It was close there for a while. I think I came in third.
I did have to pay for the two sauces, which I was fine with. I would have paid for each pie full price.
What were the sauces priced at, Liam? Because it's a great deal. You can't beat the deal. But what were the sauces? Are they? Because I've seen some of them. They get up there towards 50 cents.
I think it may have been 50.
Oh!
But again, that's how you make your money. You can't just go giving away pies 2 for 1. And it's similar with movie theaters. You go in there, you get your ticket, $4. You get your popcorn, you get your drink, $5,000.
$5,000. Yeah.
In this economy, the cost of living, $5,000 for popcorn and drink. You couldn't make it up.
A remarkable deal, Liam. What was that bakery name again?
Barrington Bakery out in Dungog. Please do check it out if you get a chance. Great place.
It's wonderful. It's
right on the main street. Beautiful main street too. Classic Australian small town main street, the kind that I grew up on.
Yeah.
There's no Coles, there's no Woolworths.
No fancy boys.
There's a servo with 2 pumps, which is never enough. You got to queue up for 4 hours to get petrol.
Well, they mostly have horses out
Horses,
there, I think. Yeah.
I don't think the vehicle has reached Dungog yet.
2 pumps of petrol and 1 pump of water to feed the horses.
And then, of course, they got 2 pubs.
2 pubs,
They got the pub up the top of town, and they got the bottom pub. That's it. 2 pubs.
We're going to preview, Liam, this week's game against the Penrith Panthers. Coming up on Saturday, the 15th of April. I don't need to necessarily say the date because it's this coming Saturday at 5:30 p.m.
There's only one 15th of April every year, Joust, so don't mix Naggy up, please.
It's right in the middle of Super Saturday, Liam. Right, betwixt the 2 other games. Liam, I have to ask you, how can we beat this Penrith side?
Hip drops. Grapples, chicken wings.
Throw them all in.
Walls of Jericho. Rikishi's move where he used to back his bum up on him. You remember that one? Get him up against a turnbuckle and then just go arse in the face.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. If it ain't broke, you should probably fix it. Because it could be better. But if it's a wrestling move to take other players out of the game, that's what you do. And I think, Naggy, what you're going to see, maybe the juiciest matchup of the year.
Hopefully.
The battle of the Group 2 superstars. Lockie Miller, Sawtell Panthers Jr. Dylan Edwards. Bellinger Dorigo Magpies.
That's from very similar regions up there.
The place I was born against the place I was raised, my formative years. Juicy. Love it.
This is a real family
Bit of a
connection
history
there,
lesson there, yeah.
Now, Penrith are so good because they're
very good.
They're patient. They're a patient team.
Yeah. Much like Gav Morton, their biggest fan. He's a patient man.
He's a patient
To put up with our nonsense. He's a very patient man, Gavin, and we appreciate you for that.
Just look at the image
your team's shit.
Of the Penrith. Look at the Panther right there. He's patient. He's waiting. And he said, patience.
He's pensive.
Patience, everyone.
He knows. He knows something's going to happen and he'll pounce.
We know that they'll do that. So hopefully,
like Bagheera,
if we're
the panther in the Jungle Book,
little bit.
Or was he a tiger?
Panther.
I wouldn't be scared of the tigers at this point. He was a panther. Thank you. Yeah. If he was a tiger, we wouldn't be scared of him.
No, Panthers. Menacing.
Very menacing.
And they have been menacing for years.
Also, why did they have a bear in the Jungle Book? Bears aren't traditionally found in the jungle.
Jesus, you're destroying my childhood. One character at a time.
First thing first, the diggers are disrespected.
Yeah.
Second thing, you found out the Jungle Book's a lie.
Liam, you told me earlier about Blinky Bill, the movie, about how the mother died as well.
I don't know if you guys seen this one.
Yeah.
Ruined me as a child. They pulled a Bambi on us. Yeah. Blinky Bill, obviously being a koala, mother lives in a house in the trees, a tree house, if you will.
Yeah.
Knock the fucker down. You don't do that.
Dead.
It was that tyrannical government again. They're killing our live music. They're cutting our trees down while there are koalas inhabiting those trees.
Outrageous.
All to put out new cookie cutter estates with no backyards and that no one wants. What's Fletcher? Fletcher's made up.
Fletcher's
you could have kept a forest there. That could have been a beautiful, area filled with eucalyptus.
I've never been there, Liam, and it's far too far away from Hamilton. That's where all the music is.
All the music.
Let's have a look at the lineup for this week, Liam. We've got, our fullback, which is playing out of his skin, Lachlan Miller.
Wonderful.
Which, of course, the battle of the fullbacks. I didn't realise this also very tugging in the heartstrings.
Very touching for me, yes.
Absolutely. This is going to be most interesting to see. On the wing, we've got Greg Mazieu. And, of course, Dom Young.
Mazieu.
Arcu Mazieu. And you've also got a little bit, a bit of you don't like Dom Young at the moment because he's leaving us.
At least Tom Young, he sounds all right. I don't know.
But he's growing
Our
on you.
producer Sam had an interesting thing to say to me. He said, Liam, Tom Young's only got 1 year left at the Knights. Why don't you open your heart to him? And I'm not a heartless bloke. I like to open my heart up
You
to
won't even
people.
refer to him as the correct name. I know. You're deep.
What, Tom Young?
Tom Young. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Anyway, maybe I'll open my heart. He's becoming an easy-to-love player. He's scoring tries at will.
Yeah.
I see him interviewed after the game. He speaks well. He seems like a lovely young
Huddersfield.
fella. Huddersfield, thank you.
Huddersfield, yeah.
There's no H in
No
that.
H.
Now, do you say H or H, Naggy? Because
try to
I
s-
was recently informed that it's not H and that I'm an idiot for saying
H.
that my whole
H,
life.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
has to have the sound of the letter in the name. A. It sounds like A. B starts with B.
Bear with
C.
us. We're going to go through all 26.
But H has to have the sound of H in it.
What about C? Because you use it as an S.
C you can use as an S or a C, doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
You don't call it the keyword.
In the centres, Liam, which I think is a couple of players that are playing very, very well in different ways. We've got
Remarkably so.
the young, bolsterous Bradman Best, the thumb. And we have Dan Gagai, the classy veteran.
In his 252nd game. What a lot of games. That's a great amount of games for one man to be involved in.
Both playing out of their skin and both within their own skin as well.
Yeah, well,
It's not like...
they'll get hip dropped out of their skin if we're not careful.
It's not like that film, Silence of the Lambs, where he dresses himself in another man's skin to
be sent off for it.
To escape prison.
Judiciary would have a field day.
They say, dang a guy wore someone else's face for the entire game.
The argument always when you go to the judiciary, it's precedent. There's no precedent for peeling a man's face off, putting it on your own, and then kind of masquerading as him in an NRL game.
Masquerading.
You can't do it. And nor should you.
I'll say the
Nor
Knights
should
have
you.
won the game, but Dylan Edwards has had his face removed at the back of the field.
What a way to go, though. Bleeding out on the turf at Marathon Stadium after. Oh, no, it's at Penrith.
Dane with it. No, it's at
Never
home.
want to die
Is it
in
home?
Penrith.
Was it at home or is it away? It's at home, Liam.
Oh, it
It's
is.
at home.
What a way to go. Dying of blood loss after having your face peeled off on the holy ground of Marathon Stadium.
Dang a guy that's there with a shiv that he's made, with a toothbrush and a blade that he's...
Well, I remember they used to, when you were playing in juniors, you'd always have to show your studs, and they touch the studs. They probably don't do that at the higher level.
where you
Because
hide
you're just
those.
going to get the studs into it.
Hide the shiv.
Yeah, I had the shiv in the
And the
studs.
studs. That's what
Yeah.
they're checking for.
I was tricking the book.
That's what they're checking. But in the halves, we will welcome back Gamble responsibly.
Yep, with his fantastic dentist.
Well, he's got a bit of a snaggle there.
Bit of a
doesn't he?
snaggle.
But that's all right. It's more teeth, more attitude. I've
Most
always
good
said.
men have.
Yeah.
Every man has to have one imperfection. That's Tyson responsible.
Just one.
Great man.
Because otherwise
Great
he's
man.
fantastic. In the front row, Leo Thompson.
Thompson and Thompson.
Thompson and
That
Thompson.
great Belgian detective, Thompson and Thompson.
So nice they named him Leo. But we'll see Phoenix Crossfield Bomlin move to the hooker position. In the back row, of course, we've got Fizz and Fritz.
Fitz and Frizz. Yeah. $15 you can get yourself a poorly fitted suit and a cheap haircut. Go to Fitz and Frizz for all your suits and haircutting needs.
They tailor the body and then they tailor the face.
Well, you got to have both. They both have to match.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matt Croker, I like what he's doing at lock. He's got a bit of an interesting body type as
He
well.
does have an interesting look to him.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah.
like a park footballer.
But he's got
But
it
in the best possible way.
the best body. He's ours.
And he's got some skills to him as well. I've seen developing in him a very good passing game. He likes to throw the footy around a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Likes to throw the shoulders around a little bit.
Yeah.
Likes to throw his hips around a little bit, just dropping them all over town.
Got everything. You should see him
Got
at
it
a,
all.
should see him at a wedding. Yeah.
See, the hip drop used to mean something different when we were at the Exchange after a Wanderers game on a
Hey,
Saturday
oh,
night.
yeah. Hey, it's making up the bench. I believe this week will be Hurt Man, who's not hurt this week,
Which is nice.
which is remarkable.
Good for him.
Scored a very good try. Jack Johns,
Yep.
from the Johns family.
Son of Kirk Gidley.
Got a great hit and spin on him lately.
Does.
He thinks we're not noticing. We're noticing, Jack. We can
Yes,
see
we
you hit
are,
and spin,
Jack.
and we love it.
You know he listens to the show. Keep it up, Jack.
The Red Mist, as well as head and shoulders, knees and toes. Brody Jones.
Brody Jones, the Druff.
I think it's. Look, if I was going to be honest, Liam, I think we're one big man short. I don't know where it is, but I'm
Well,
liking what everyone's doing at the moment.
We're only really got half a big man there on the screen, as you'll see from the Red Mist. Is only half of his picture's working. There's not enough pixels, you see. So we're really down half a man.
Hold the image, boys. It will come back to HD. Check your internet connections.
As the tyrants of the government haven't sent the NBN to Newcastle yet. The home of NBN.
Liam, we wouldn't be a Knights team rolling into round 6 without a crucial injury to someone in the middle of the park. This is our skipper, Jaden Brayley. Can you let us know anything about his injury, Liam?
He's got one.
He's got an injury.
I believe now, Naggy, I could be wrong, but the NRL physio, generally right. He's a very good fella, knows exactly what he's doing.
Good
very
boy.
good boy.
Great boy.
Meniscus. Now, you were trying to explain to me earlier what a meniscus was.
I had a stab.
We
I
had
had
a
a stab at it. I had a stab like
Much
I was,
like Dane Gagai
I
will
was
be at
stabbing
Bill
someone's
face.
cutting someone's face off. I had a stab. I believe it's the cartilage underneath the knee. I believe that's
Keeping
your
in mind,
meniscus.
Joust, as we are not doctors,
No, we can't claim to be medical
and
professionals.
please do not accuse us of being medical professionals.
Do not take any advice medically. We can't make that claim enough. But we're hoping that Jaden Brayley will only miss 4 to 6 weeks.
That'd be lovely.
It's hopefully he's avoided bad damage. Scans will be later this week, so hopefully we'll find out whether it's going to be something
Do you
more
reckon
serious.
it's not enough chocolate? He didn't have enough chocolate over the Easter weekend. Chocolate, of course, is good for your bones.
Maybe too much. It's Cadbury again, Liam. They've taken down from a glass and a half just to 1 glass.
Maybe he's allergic to palm oil.
The orangutans.
Damn orangutans.
But hopefully he recovers from his knee injury soon. He's such an integral part of that side, but hopefully we can do as we've done, is the next man up mentality, and get the win over the Penrith Panthers. It's time to open your sack, Liam.
That's not an opening noise. Apologies, Joust. That was zipping up.
We've gone digital.
We've gone digital and we don't know what we're doing. Now, an interesting couple of questions here from Joel Southgate and Daniel Turner. We were going to discuss KP in the news, but we saw him pop up in the sack, so we thought we'd save him for you guys. Plus, we just wanted everyone to get really excited and stick around because they might only be listening to what Kalen Ponga's doing. And
Ponga news.
Guess what? We don't know. Now, we obviously... had the foresight to send Kalen to see my Uncle Jasper over there in Canada.
Yeah.
I got a phone call from Jasper the other day.
Yep. All clear?
All clear.
Wonderful.
He said, I can't talk long distance phone call. I haven't got much money.
Collect call.
A collect call, in
Yeah.
fact. So I said to Uncle Jasper, when's he back? And Uncle Jasper says, round 8, Liam.
Round 8.
And I said, round 8, Uncle Jasper. And he said, yes. So Ponga, you heard it here first at the Joust. Well, obviously after all the other media outlets told you, but you heard it here first.
Yeah.
He will be back in round 8. Now, Naggy, Joel and Daniel want to know, where do we fit him back in?
I've got my own 2 cents that I'll throw in.
I thought you were going to say you have a hunch. I was going to send you to see Uncle Jasper.
I hope, Liam.
He fixes everything.
It'd be so easy to throw him back in that 5'8" position, and then all eyes are on Ponga for the wrong reasons.
I don't know if it'd be easy. He's a 90-kilo man. He'd be hard to throw.
Well, they could slide him back in there on a wet grass.
That's
but
easier.
It'd be very easy for them just to fit him back in that 5'8" side, 5'8" position, I should say. But I would prefer to see Kalen start at 14.
At 14, Naggy.
Similar to what he did for Queensland during his debut, and let the big boys bash. Let the boys have a bit of biff and hip drop and do all the chicken wings and get it all out of their system. And
all the fist fights
and all the fist
and the
fights.
glassings
Yeah.
and the brawling.
Get them all out.
10-on-1 brawls I used to see out the front of Finnegan's leaving work.
All the shivs, all the face cuttings. Let them happen. And then, when the forwards are tired, slide Kalen in there.
Now, that's something Queensland did for quite a while that was very successful. They did it with DCE. They did it with Cooper Cronk. They probably did it with other people. I don't know. I don't pay attention to what they do up there. I don't care. I don't care what they do. But you're right. It did work very successfully for him. But that was in Origin when he had a lot of very good players playing.
And I think we've got the equally as good play. Possibly
we've got-
better.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a Maroons team in history
Put 'em
that
at
come close to this current Knights team.
AOB, put him at 14. Hear me out. Give him.
He hears us out. He's very accommodating, AOB. He takes our calls. He hears us out.
He loves us.
He loves us.
He can't get enough of us. Put him at 14. Give him a bit of space and let him do what he does best, and that's things.
Good things.
Good things.
Not just things. Good things.
Great things.
What position could you put him where he doesn't need to use his noggin?
Somewhere, I don't know. Put him wherever he wants to play. Just let him do what he wants to do.
Let the boy play.
Any other questions from the
Yes.
Sackland?
Next question. Matt Frost, Grilled. Wonderful restaurant. Currently running a promo where if your team wins on the weekend, you get 2-for-1 burgers on a Monday. Now, I slept until 2 p.m. today and I didn't see that, so I didn't get to go get my free burger. Deciding to maximise his potential winnings, he selected his team as the Panthers and his missus went for Brisbane. Are we bad people or just idiots? I would say neither. Matt, I know you. I know you're not a bad man.
We love to hear
Maybe
from you.
just a man with some poor judgment when it comes to rugby league and the free burgers that you can get from rugby league games.
Do burgers override your love for your own team?
No. Meat pie, yeah. I'd take it in a heartbeat. I'd burn down the city of Newcastle for a good meat pie, but not a burger.
Are we sure that your 2-for-1 meat pies didn't come from the Knights winning?
I think they came from the big man upstairs, Harold, looking down on me and saying, "You deserve a treat today,
You deserve
Liam."
a treat. You've done a
was
great
I
job.
did a great job. The Knights got a tie. You did wonderful, Liam. Yeah.
I gave the parking ticket today to someone that needed to buy a parking ticket when I was leaving a car park.
See, that's what a real man does.
Yeah.
That is an integrity move. The tyrants in the government would not want you doing
Would
that.
not like that.
They would not like that. Next question in the sack. Justin Guillon's back again. Justin, just a favour, could you correct us on the pronunciation of your surname, if you would? Because I think Guillon, it sounds French, and I like it.
Possibly
But correct
is.
us if we're wrong. We probably are. Do us legends. Thank you for that, Justin. That's nice.
Who is he talking about? Yeah.
Do we reckon that someone has been blasting it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. Speech from Rocky Balboa in the shed with the way we kept our composure today.
There was certainly composure at the result of 80 minutes.
It was a Balboa-esque performance. And of course, the week before, it all fits into the Rocky timeline. Because at the end of the first Rocky movie, he doesn't win. A lot of people forget that.
No, he lost.
And the week before, we didn't win.
No.
A lot of people remember that because it was not that long ago. Rocky 2, guess what happens? A big win.
A big win.
Knockout. Or did you mean by knockout or was it on points?
I can't remember. Can we look that up?
Either way, it ended Apollo Creed's career, much like we're going to end the career
No, of course.
the Penrith Panthers this weekend.
Well, Apollo Creed's career died at the hands of Ivan Drago in Rocky
No,
IV.
his life died at the end.
That was also his career. It
true.
was two things.
But it was merely an exhibition fight. He should have thrown in the towel. Rock should have thrown in the towel.
Has anyone held him responsible for not throwing in the towel to his good friend Apollo Creed? Hopefully, Lee. Hopefully we see a bit of Rocky 3 versus Clubber Lang 2, like the second time they fought, where he wins, and hopefully we're Rocky.
Well, he was a bit of a fancy boy in the first game, training in the hotel lobby, making all the merchandise. It wasn't till he
Went to
got
the
back
beach.
his roots.
The beach.
He went and trained at the beach. And he went and trained in the snow.
The shorts.
That's why it's good to see the boys training in the Barrington Tops. Next question and final for the night. Daniel Turner again. Thank you again, Daniel. Given it looks like Brayley will be out for at least a few weeks minimum, who do you make Captain Hastings?
Couple
Now,
of pushes for Hastings.
this follows on from a discussion we had last week, and Hastings seems to be a pretty popular decision. I like it. In the past, we've seen Tyson Frizzell given the C next to his name. Now, Tyson is a player who leads by his actions.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I think we need more of a talker. I
Yeah.
think Jackson Hastings is that talker.
Loves a talk.
Loves a chat.
Loves a chat.
Especially in the confessional at the end of the week. It's his job. He has to tell people good things about themselves.
He's a monk. I basically see him as our on-field captain. I hope that he, like, when you're out there, they're the ones that he's the one that everyone's looking up to. And
Maybe this is the week Lockie Miller gets appointed.
or
Anointed as captain.
Yeah. Hold your coronation of Prince Charles, guys. There's a bigger one coming from a boy from Sawtell, fresh from the Moscow Olympics, about to be crowned the second most important job in Australia, and that's captain of the Newcastle Knights. Thank you, Jousters, for listening to us for another week. We'll be back next week. If you like us, please like us on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, all those social pipes, Instagram.
Check your pipes.
Spotify. I don't know if we're on there anymore.
If your pipes are struggling, see your doctor.
We'll keep an eye out for the Joust, and please head down to Hamilton Station. It's a wonderful venue, and we'll see you around the grounds. Thank you, Jousters. We'll catch you next week.